Before this video starts, please do me one little favor. This is meant to be a test video about older games, tips and tricks, a let's play, and saving people money. If you can't handle any of that, as we go into the next piece real quick, I'll say, hey, look, please go to chapter 1 on the chapter timelines in the YouTube chapters. It'll skip all of my explanation and just get you the tips and tricks of this video and the next video in the line of this playlist. Or if you click next button, or I think there'll be a link down below somewhere, you'll be able to go to the next video right away and skip all that kind of stuff that you might not might not want to know. And that's perfectly fine. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's go to the explanation. I got to ask you to give me 2 minutes before you click off for this video. The reason I'm going to show you a 7-year-old game and hopefully earn your subscription today, like I always ask, is because this game is a $7 game, or a $6 or $7 game, okay? It's 7 years old. Railroad Empire 2 is already out, has DLCs. This game is 7 years old, has DLCs, and has been fixed. There were some, I can see now after playing it like 20 hours, why this game hit a wall a little bit. And I think the developers fixed it after many years of the community going, hey, this is messed up, this is messed up. There's still a few hitches in it, and I'm going to show you some of those hitches today so you can get past them for yourself. Okay? The game is not brand new. The game is not sponsoring me. I decided to do this because I wanted to see if there's a market for older content compared to always chasing the newest trend like every other one of us seem to do, which is perfectly fine. I don't mind chasing brand new games too if they're good. I don't try to chase the hottest trends. I don't try to chase AAA. I do try to go after new indies that I think a lot of people need to look at because I'm a signpost streamer, meaning I show you an indie game you might not know about or a better way to play an indie game that's really complex, but isn't really explained well by the tutorial, the dev, or the Discord. That's my job. This one is an attempt to expand that a little bit and go to older games that, since a lot of us have, money issues, it might be nice to go, hey, I can get a full game right now for like $30 and all the DLCs compared to buying the brand new game for $30, just the base game, and the DLCs for another 60 on top. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So hopefully, if you haven't clicked off already, I can earn your subscription today, like I always say. Number 2, I'm going to show you a few ways to figure out if the game is for you. And I'm going to show you some ways to save money that I'm not sponsored on. I don't make any money off this kind of stuff. And I'm going to show you how to make sure I don't make any money off it. Okay? Now let's go into it. First things first, I have to show you 2 links. One is the price history on a thing called isthereanydeal.com. Now, I am going to show you that I am not sponsored on this by not giving you a link. First of all, take this off, isthereanydeal.com. There you go. Notice how there's no user selected, there's no sign in or anything, there's no tracking links, there's nothing. This is isthereanydeal.com. I have used this site for 8 years. Now here's how it works. It's a curation site like pcpartpicker.com. Okay? All it does is you type in what you want. Let's say if I'm going to go up here and type in Railway Empire, let it go, it'll bring up all this stuff. It shows you the Railway Empire 2, the DLCs I believe for both, but I'm going to go for Railroad Empire 1. It's $6 right now in American dollars. So it'll show you a few things. One is the prices, the history, the stats, the regions. You can finagle all the other stuff. I want to show you the 2 things. One is the prices and 2 is the history. Right now, it'll say store low. Do not pay attention to that. That is the lowest it has ever been on that store. Some people are get confused. They see Fanatical 99 cents. It is not currently 99 cents. It's current prices, shows you the current price, which on Fanatical is $26. On Game Billet, Indie Gala, Steam, and Gamersgate, it is currently $6 or $6.75. It also shows you right there if you get a Steam key or not. Okay? A lot of that matters for some of you, and it matters for me. If I can't get a Steam key, I don't usually want it unless it's like Epic exclusive and I can't get the game, or unless I get a significant discount. Like, let's say if this game was $1 right now on Epic, I would buy it for $1. For $6, I'll keep it on Steam, because it does not offer it on Epic. You do what you want to do. But this will also show you in here the history. The history shows you the price history of the game, and you can move the sliders from the start of it all the way to the end. Notice how I can go all the way out here, and I can say, hey, when's the last time this game was listed at $20? Back in July 2020. Now we're in, I think it's October 2nd today, 2025, and we are all the way down to $6 right there. I wanted to show people this site because type in the thing yourself. That way there's no track link. It's a great way for gamers to save money if you're looking for Steam codes. Nothing's illegal on this site that I've ever, for the last 8 years I've used it. And the sites that they will show you for prices are not like off the back of a truck.com where the heck it's going to steal a key, it's going to go dead, and then the poor developer gets screwed, gets charged back, you get your key destroyed, all that kind of crap. That doesn't happen on the site. But then again, the site doesn't make any money besides I think the few ads that are on it. And that's up to you. I think they also got some kind of referral link. If you go in there, like not referral link, referral bonus, whatever. You know, like if I click on here, GameBuilt will give them like 5 cents. I think that's how it works. I don't really know. The main thing I want to show people is that there's a wealth of stats in here. You can go into stats and you can find out when the players were, the history of them, waitlist and collection trends, all this kind of stuff. As you can see, there was a giant sale when the game went down to like $6. A lot of people bought it. Up until that point, not a lot of people bought it. A good amount of people owned it in collections. There's 1,000 right here, right about there in March 6th of, I believe, 2020. However, when the first sale dropped it down to like $10, it skyrocketed, and it keeps skyrocketing. Now, it's not a lot. Only 15,000 people own this game. You can do this for every game in your library. Okay? I'll show this more later on the end of the stream or end of the YouTube video, but I don't want to get too crazy. I know I already have a little bit. I showed you the GameBuilt stuff. The game is older. The game is not new. It's meant to be a test to find out if people want to see this kind of content. And I know we're 6 minutes in this video. It's very much a test to find out if you want to see older games with good discounts, with good gameplay that are still complex once in a while. Not all the time. Not switching the whole channel to it, but I want to do that, okay? If you like that kind of idea, let me know as you can. If you can do it down below, it's probably the easiest. Say, yes, I'd like to see more of these kind of things. Deals on older games that you're not paying attention to. I'm a huge train fan. Like Derail Valley, Railroad Tycoon 1, 2, and 3, Railroad Corporation, Transport Tycoon Deluxe. You name it, I really love to collect train games just to give them a shot because I really love trains since I was a little kid with a little model train set. Always been that way. I think I always will be. And trying to find games like this that are decently priced is not always the nicest and easiest thing. I've even played Mashinki. I've played, you name it, I pretty much have it in my inventory. Unless it's completely like that one train game. It's like $16,000 of DLC. Not buying that. But everything else, I'll give a shot to. So this is going to be this one attempt. Yes, it's a very long explanation. I'm very verbose on this. I wanted to get people out to this point and get you the tips and tricks. I hopefully said at the beginning, go through the chapters to get to the first part if you can't see that information. Let's go into it real quick. I'm going to go into the first tips and tricks. If you like it, there'll be a playthrough on the other thing. I'm going to make a little note about that at the very start of this too. Thank you very much. Let's go on to the first tips. This next piece is right before the tips and tricks. I said I was going to go into the tips and tricks, but I want to make sure a lot of you know where I'm coming from. This game very much borrows almost everything I can think of from Railroad Tycoon 1, 2, and 3. Everything is the same. Every single feature you can do in those games is in here with more. You can have stations, you can have trains, you can have signals, you can have maintenance sheds, you can buy businesses, you can buy resource nodes, you can buy train upgrades. However, they did add on some things onto it. They added on things like officers, they added on train conductors and tenders, the stokers. They added on the ability to buy parts of your enemy empire and yet have them make you money, which kind of was in 2 and 3, but not really. And they added in a little bit more extra stuff. They also better graphics, better sounds, all that kind of stuff like that. As long as you know that going into it, it's actually a pretty good homage to the game. There are some parts that make you go, wait, what? Why? And that's why I want to make sure I explain with this video. This isn't a bad thing. I've been looking for a natural successor to Railroad Tycoon 2 and 3 for a very long time. Many of you probably played it that are looking at this video, because if this isn't the newest and hottest game, I'll bet you a lot of people just kind of skip on by it. The fact that you can go into a town like this and then find out what the town's needs are directly compared to hoping you provide enough passengers, mail, food, lumber, meat, beer, clothing, all that kind of stuff is a direct nod to Railroad Tycoon 1, 2, and 3. However, it tells you exactly what you have in the stock in the city and how much that's for weekly demand, as well as weekly demand in all the cities on the map, and then weekly production, all businesses. It shows you if you're going to get out of control, if you're willing to look. And And I think that's a very good thing. Now, I do want to say one last thing before we move into the tips and tricks. Railroad Empire 1 and 2 have their own communities that are very, very passionate. They also have some detractors and everything in between. Railroad Empire 1, I don't want to say it was a commercial success, but I don't think it was a bad game either. It just was, from what I can tell after playing the game almost 30 hours, I think there was a translation error between the developers and the English market. And I'm not trying to say they did something wrong. I'm trying to explain this in the best way I possibly can. There are some English translations that don't work 100%. And because of that, people that are native English speakers are like, wait, this doesn't make sense to me. But yet German people who speak English, including one of my mods, are like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I think that's where it went wrong, including a problem in the tutorial right now, where the tutorial does not look like it's completable unless you click like one little item, and I'll explain it to you at the end of this video if that matters to you, or where to find it, okay? If someone has that problem where you buy the game, go, I can't get past this one part, I'll explain it to you, okay? Or I'll show you the link down below or in the description, okay? I mean that. Thank you very much. Let's go to the tricks now. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to be doing a little bit of a test here. And if any of you creators that are watching this, maybe there probably won't be anyone, but maybe you are. Maybe you want to know the results of this test. I am willing to post the results of showing older games on the channel and on the other channel, the newer channel, publicly. I don't mind. I'm trying to show older games because I think there is a small market for them. I don't think everyone wants to see it, but some people do. And I'm going to be showing them. So there you go. Now, the first trick is, I think this will save you the most amount of time. There is what's called saving, as you all know, and auto-saving. However, they are not implemented like every other game I have ever seen. Every other game up here will take 10 minutes in real life time, stop, and save the game. Not Railroad Empire 1. Railroad Empire 1 goes based upon in-game time passing. So I could be paused here and do and I did this during my stream. I built a huge network of stuff. I took an hour to look at every industry, every town, every possible expansion, what my competition was doing. I looked up different technologies. I was all ready to go. I didn't unpause the game. I then unpaused the game, and my competitor, within like 5 real-life minutes, built from New York. He built down to Collins Estate, a rail line, and made a huge cut right through what I was trying to do. I said, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to autosave. I loaded the autosave. It had been 3 minutes of real life time had passed, but 90 minutes of planning. It threw me back to a scenario ago. This is the second scenario. To say I was like, wait, what the hell just happened? Would be an understatement. I was so angry, and that's why it's the very first thing I'm telling you. Saving does not work in this game like every other autosave. Autosaves in every other game I've ever seen will pass 10 real life minutes based upon your computer's clock and save the game. Railroad Empire 1 takes every in-game month at the first day of the next month and saves it. So if you put it in slow mode or pause and do a bunch of work and then autosave, you will lose all of that work. Be prepared for that. I'm going to let some stuff run while we're in the background here. Now, number 2. Actually, the next tip. But one thing I'm going to show you is this drove me nuts. And the whole thing about it was the track section. This is the track section. Trying to get what's called a Y, or try a triangle in here like this. This is ideally what you want to do. You have 2 tracks going each way in a triangle. That way your train can come in. When it goes in the station and flips around, it can go out the other way. If it can't go out the other way, it goes around and comes back out this way. Everyone wins. No. Trying this in the game is why I think I found out why the game has had such problems in the sale department. And that is because I have one set up here, right and wrong. And what I'm going to do is this right here works, but it's not parallel. See how these tracks are nice and parallel? They're almost exactly. And then this is all messy. This is what most players do. This is what the game wants you to do. And I'm going to show you why. If you go over here to connect this in, a lot of people will say, I'll just grab this thing over here. No, you have to go from the outside edges in, then work on the inside piece all the time. If you try to do it any other way, it will fail. Here's what I mean. If I try to take this piece here and I want to connect it over here, notice how it's red? No matter what I do, it's red, 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 it's red. It won't do anything. If I do this, however, by doing the outside, like right here, and grab the outside edge and go. I'm going to go over this way because I'm trying to avoid this little hill right here. Notice how it's 2%. I'm going to try to keep this as low as I can. 10% is pretty good. Now I'm trying to avoid that tunnel, so I'm going to back it up by hitting left shift. And hit left shift again, and I'm going to move this entire thing over again. By hitting left click. 2%. 2. I'm going to go this way. 1. Now this doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a triangle. It has to be a triangle eventually. But you just have to be very careful how you put your tracks in. This is 6% on a little bit of a bridge. I don't like the bridge. The bridge costs a lot of money. Earthworks are cheaper. Notice it over here. Earthworks, tunnels, bridges. Try to keep bridges and tunnels out of your builds if possible. As long as it's not going to be a super incline. There's 13%. There's 2, but a bridge. I don't want the tunnel, rather. So I'm going to go over here like this with a 3. Very tight. 0. And I'm going to connect it over here for reasons. The whole thing cost me $44,000. Now, it's not bad. The worst is 14%, which is pretty bad. I got to admit. Now, I can move this by going like this. Now, it's a 10. That's 16. You can finagle this as much as you want. I would be very careful how you do it, though, because 18's pretty bad, I must admit. Trying very hard to make sure I don't get a very bad slope in here. 17's a little bit better. $16's better. You can move this anywhere you want, all loosey-goosey. I am trying to make this better. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. Now, the reason I did this, it's $46,000. 43. Now, the reason I did this, over here, as you can see, for some reason there's a track piece here. Notice it's parallel on the inside. It's trying to say, hey, you can take this and go like this. That's how it should be done. What I did here is wrong. Okay? Over here, it does the same thing. If you bring a track in the right way, it'll say, hey, we know you want to make something go the other way. So what you do is you grab track construction, you center it on the Christmas tree, you go over, whoa, stop. Game's very angry. Now the game isn't doing it, it's pissing me off. This is like the 3rd time I've tried to do this, and I don't know why it's doing this. So I'll try it the other way for a minute. I'm gonna cancel it and try this one. See, this one will let me do it. See what I mean? That's what I'm looking for. And knowing how that right there works has been the most frustrating thing as a train gamer I've ever had to work with. Because it doesn't work the way it says it does. Like this right here, this is not working. And the only reason I can think of is because there's a little bit of a gap in there, even though I'm going to the Christmas tree. So we'll go like this and try to be like that, and it won't let me do it. And I don't know how to make it work. And it will not work every time. You can try again and again and again, and this will be what takes the most amount of time for you as a gamer, and it will probably frustrate you. I had to show you this. I don't have time to fix this, but this is one of the main things that will probably deep six the game for most people. I'm willing to fix it. All you do is you delete these lines, you put it back in, you put it the other way. Eventually, as long as you don't unpause, you don't lose any money when you refund, it'll come back in, come back out, and it'll work. Eventually it'll work. This is what broke the game. I can tell a lot of people like the tracks don't work. I can't make the signals work because the tracks. I'm giving up. I'm refunding the game. I saw this in the reviews a lot. I'm saying it's not that big of a deal if you can deal with a smidgen of frustration, because once you get it, it works almost every time. This isn't working for me because I haven't played the game in 3 weeks. And I know it's my fault. I'm taking the blame. Let's move on to the next piece. As you probably saw in some of this, tracks going around, this was $33,000, so it's $86,000 for this. If I try to go through, like I put the contour lines on. If you want to get contour lines, you go to options, you go contour lines on. If not, they're off. And here's how you see your game. Okay. Contour lines off. I don't know if they reload the game or not, but let's see if I go to track building. Yeah, if I go to track building now, there's no contour lines, which I think makes the game worse. Contour lines show you the topography, the mountains and the hills, and I want to make sure you know how to turn them on. Go to options, go to contour lines on, check yes, like that. Continue playing, then go to building, and you'll see the hills appear. If you see a hill, like if you look like this, the redder, the worse. Like we're trying to go to Pittsburgh. I do not want to go through. If I try to go through Pittsburgh like this, the tunnel straight across is very direct. It is, but the tunnel right in front of me will cost me $460,000. Going around like this is like $40,000. Make sure you know that bridges are just as expensive. They can get astronomically out of control. If I decide I want to go over here, that bridge right there is $45,000, that little bridge. You cross a couple times at different points that don't have parallels, you're going to really get yourself out of control. Be careful of it, watch for it, try to avoid it. Even if you have to go, let's say I'm going to go across this river and you're like, oh, you know what? The hill's here. I'm going to go through with a tunnel to a bridge. Don't. Go over this way where there's no need for a tunnel. Go over this way, skirt the edge. This stuff matters. Just like in real life, grades of incline will kill you as an engine, or sorry, as a railroad company. Same thing happens in this game. Let's move on to the next tip. Bypasses are your friend, okay? A bypass, just like a bypass for a highway, works just like the rest of the game. Like let's say we're going through, and here's the highway into Washington. It's right here. I could go through Washington City and hit every traffic light the entire way, or I could take the bypass and miss the entire city and Baltimore too, and then eventually come back to the same highway right here. Now, which would you do as a car? Would you hit every single light, or would you skip it? Because you have the option, if you need to go to Washington or Baltimore, you can take that route. If not, you can bypass it. Bypasses are your friends. They cost some money, but if you're not going to go through if you're not going to go into those towns and drop stuff off, have a bypass for your trains, just like you do with a highway. In real life, this kind of exists too. Not having a bunch of crossings going through like school zones and business zones helps a lot. Trains have to slow down a lot for cities. On the open country, they go full tilt. Use it to your advantage. Let's move on to the next tip. If you haven't noticed, I'm trying to go very fast because I knew the first part of this video is probably very long. So what you can do is, if you have a train come up and you hit a signal and it's not moving, like it stops right here, and it's like, you're like, I can't make this thing move. What you do is you go to your build menu, you go to signals, and you reset it by holding down left shift or left control and left click it. It'll remove the signal. If the train is stuck at the signal, it'll reset the train back to the starting point of the line you created. So let's say I have one from this lumber mill here to Washington, to lumber mill, to Baltimore, back to lumber mill. Let's say it's stuck here for some reason, can't go to Washington. I reset it, it'll start back to the logging area and start the whole thing over again. It will not delete the train unless you delete the train yourself. It helps a great deal. I'm trying to go as fast as I can because it took some time. Let's move on to the next tip. The next tip has to do with editing train lines to make sure if you're like, I want to skip a station or I want to add a station. What you do is you go to your train list, you find your train. I would highly recommend you name your trains better. You can rename them whatever you want by going into the train, going into set up rail line or manage train. If you go in there, you can edit the name. No, I'm sorry. Can you? By locomotive delete train? No, I think it's actually under set up rail line. I could be wrong. I think I'm messing this up. Yeah, you can do it here. Edit station. No, that's edit station. I don't remember. I know there's a way to do it. I just can't remember off the top of my head what it is. But there is a way to do it. I would highly recommend when you set up a line for the first time, you actually edit the right way. Now, to change it, let's say I want to go to this one. I go, all right, let's edit this line. Let's go to set up rail line. And even though it says set up rail line, it means also edit for them. They're German. I don't know why they did what they did. But this one only goes two places. It goes to Allen. Logging to New York. This is not a good example. Let's go to a different one. Let's go to Collins Estate. No. All right, Lee Farm. Okay, Lee Farm is this right here. Set up rail line. It goes Lee Farm, New York. This is so good. This is also another bad train. No. Come on. More logging. Ah, that's finally what I want. There we go. Set up rail line. This place goes from more logging to Norfolk, back to more logging to Washington, more logging to Baltimore. If you want to change, you can see by the outside arrow where it's going. If you want to move it or move the station, you can move the station up and down the list like this. However, if you want to change them going to a different station, you can, let's see if I can do this right. You delete the station, edit station, and you can move them to where you want to go next. If he's here, I can say, I don't want you to go more logging anymore. I want you to go back to Baltimore by clicking and holding down. I could be wrong on that. I hope I'm not. Yeah, it just moves it up. So I thought there was a way. Oh, that's all it is. See how they are removed? So he's here right now. If I click don't do that and go to Baltimore, he'll flip right to Baltimore as best he can with the track he has available. I had to show you this, and it's been like a couple, 3 or 4 weeks since I played the game, so I'm a little bit out of sorts today, but I want to make sure I go as quick as I can. I know it's a long video, but I love the game, and I thought it needed a little bit of attention because I know a lot of people, just by showing the track portion, have said, I'm not playing this game. Screw this game, I'll go to number 2. And that's fine. For those of you who want a deal, $6 for a game, and you're willing to put through a little bit of a meat grinder, you can do it. I have faith in you. Let's move on to the next piece. The next section starts with stations. Now stations, and yes, I have my stuff up from last thing I just did. Stations can make or break you. If you notice here in Norfolk, I have a large train station that has signals in it. Up here in Washington, I have the same station. However, here in, I think I'm wrong on this. Do I have large stations both? Large train station. Large train station maintenance building. There was something I want to build. Where did it go? Building construction. They have a set number. They have large train stations, obviously. A terminal station means it ends. You can't go through it. A warehouse signal. You want a large train station, but what I really want is a large station with signal control. This one is very long. And when you rotate it, we use Q and E to rotate, by the way. When you get them and going, they really make a difference. I would do them for cities that are not connected. I used large train stations trying to learn the game, and I regret every little bit of it. Because when I did it, this one here is the right one in Norfolk. You can see it's the exact same kind, basically right like this. I could be wrong on that, but I think, yeah, it's the same kind of station. It has built in those little crosses at the top and bottom, here and here. If you use the large station without signal control, what happens is your trains come in and they eventually, when you get up to past 7 or 8 trains, you will quickly have a big issue. The large station with signal control, the 300 grand one versus the 200 grand one, if you're going to start connecting a city and you're going to have more than like 4 trains go to that city, you will thank me by putting them larger with signal control up for 300 grand. If not, you'll eventually go, oh, I got to rip all this out, redo all my train lines. It's a pain in the butt. Okay, let's move on. Next tip. The next one has to do with warehouses. As you can see at the very large, at the bottom, I only move myself over. If you look at the very bottom, there's 2 warehouses. Warehouse signal control, big warehouse signal control. What they work out as, they can do the same exact thing as a station. However, they keep more cargo. It says here on the bottom, warehouses connected to a town can exchange goods with that town automatically. Train too steep at this position. Initial signaling control enables trains to choose a platform by themselves while entering a railway station, and thus idle time will be decreased. This is for a big warehouse. If you're trying to pull a lot of stuff out, let's say you have 2 or 3 industries. Let's say here, I have corn, I have milk, and if this vegetable is a little closer, right here, we get all 3 pulling in there. If we have a train come in and go out that way, it might be very good. You can also dump off end goods and then have smaller, more powerful trains go up higher inclines, or an easier train, pick it. Let's say you have a harder train, pick it from the top, on top of a hill, get it to the top, or at the very bottom, the other train that can really cruise through the open terrain better comes and picks up the warehouse. That kind of stuff is what you need. It's like for shunting and moving things over. It is not meant to be, I built end goods with 15 things of iron ore and 15 things of coal equals 7 things of steel. That's not how this game works. I wish it was. It's not, from what I can tell. I don't know about it Railway Empire 2, but I want to show you folks early on because it makes such a difference. Okay, let's move on to the next piece. The next piece has to do with maintenance. If you put a maintenance area, you can put maintenance areas in 2 places. One, you can put them inside your stations, and when any train comes in, it'll get maintained. However, you can also put them on junctions for very large highways, and your trains will stop. Be careful if they do. I highly recommend doing like what I did out here. Unlike I did here, if a train comes up and stops here, this train here on the back end will stop. Watch what happens behind this guy. Oh, he's already going through. What happens
Don't worry. Your employees won't miss a thing with me. Promise.
Sorry about that. So anyway, right here, we have a large maintenance shed or maintenance area. These 4 lines are by maintenance. And because this kept happening, I had to put down what's called sidings around it, because if you put one in, the train will stop here and there's a chance it'll break afterwards, even though you're maintaining it. Don't ask me why, but that's the way it works. So having an outside way for the train to go, hey, there's some train here, I'll just go around it, on both ways will help you. That goes for everything in your network, except for the stations themselves. If they're in the station, they break down, there's not much you can do. The signaling will take care of as best as it can. You have to just kind of eat the cost. That's why bypasses like before are your friend. Make sure you have maintenance. Pretty good areas. Like I wouldn't put it like, let's say this is one little farm. I wouldn't put it here. I wouldn't put on any of these small ones, but coming out of 4 different industries, 1, 2, 3, 4, and stopping after they all merge together right here, is not a bad thing. It helped a lot. I also put another one here, just like you saw over here, because there's an industry in a town where they can come through. I kind of want to put one, I did put one up here, good. This one up here is because a lot of trains come through from the way out here. They miss that supply area here, and they go this way all the way through, and they have no maintenance. And next thing you know, I figure before they go through all the whole network, they can stop here, get some maintenance. You decide what you want in your network. It's not a bad thing to put more if you can afford it, but they are not cheap. They quickly go into the $30,000 a piece per rail connected, I believe. I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to let it go for now, but I'll say 30,000 at least. It can add up, especially early on. Let's move on to the next tip. I know this video is getting long. I'm going to try to go faster. This is the cargo section. Cargo sections are everything from passengers and cargo and making money off their industries, okay? And I know that some of you are going to be like, oh, that's the part I really want the most, because I know I'm that part way the most. So the way you can get paid when anything in this game, this is one part I don't like about the game, but it's kind of makes sense. When you have a train go from Norfolk to Washington carrying passengers, you will get paid $2,000 per car. If you have it go from Norfolk to New York, longer distance, bigger cities, how much is it? Also $2,000 a car. Why? You're not getting paid for the distance in this game, unfortunately. You're getting paid from one location to the next. Now, if you want to grow New York, that might be worth doing. If you want, but the distance is not covered. What's covered is the amount of people moved. And if you move everything in short distances, it counts just the same as if you move from Norfolk to New York. But if the better way to do it would go to Norfolk to Washington, Washington to Baltimore, Baltimore to New York, and then New York back to Baltimore. I was angry when I learned this about the game. It really physically angered me. I was like, what? No! If people want to go the whole way, they don't want a million stops. But that's not how the game is coded. Now, maybe Railroad Empire 2 fixed it. Maybe it got changed, so on and so forth. That's not the way it works. The one other thing that also pissed me off is if you transport goods a farther distance, it's the same exact cost. So it's always worth it to supply the nearest ones first. The lumber from me, from more logging going to Washington, Norfolk, is the exact same cost as more logging going all the way up to New York. You get no extra money unless you buy the industry. And that'll be the next tip. The next tip is, like I said, buying industries. You will make money off industries and the resource production industries. So let's say we'll go down the chain. This farm, I own it. This is current workload 100%. I bought it for $472,000. Total profit has been $355,000 since I bought it. It has not paid itself off. It is level 2. That means I have expanded it once. Now, what does that leaf farm give me? It gives me corn. Corn goes to every city. If you go in here, every city, the first basic need is corn. For some reason, grain is up there, but I think that's because of beer industry. So corn, then wood, then meat, then beer, in that order of the 4 that they want. Usually it's just these 2. They want food and they want to be able to build homes. Okay, fine. Past that, they want more. It'll be dependent on the town you go to. Let's say let's go to Washington, D.C. They have a different need. They also don't want cattle, but they do want these 4. They also want some grain, but the grain they have is because they have a brewery here, which turns grain into beer. Grain does not equal food. I thought it did. It annoyed me. Baltimore does not have a distillery. It does want grain, but not much. 1.2 a week. Does it have a distillery? No, it does not. So where is that grain going? I don't know where, but they want some. Very little. They want weekly demand of 1.2. Why? I don't know. But they want all of these things in white. You can see if it goes to gray, though, like no demand for cotton, no demand for cheese, coal, iron ore, salts, clay. You will find that out very quickly. You can buy the chain. You can say, okay, let's go like this. Let's go lumber. Lumber is a very good one, actually. I'll show you up here. Lumber, let's say you want a lumber mill. Sorry, a sawmill. You buy the lumber mill. Current world workload is 28%. Most of it's transported by coaches, not by my trains. I bought it for $204,000. Total profit right now is 86. I only have a very small train line going in here to New York. That's all it does. However, in New York, if we go to the city itself, you can see that there's a sawmill. So we own I guess a logging camp. The sawmill then takes the logs and makes into lumber. The lumber then gets transported over here to the furniture industry. Lumber becomes furniture. That's the whole chain. You can find entire chains in here. You can buy the entire chain if you want to. However, it will tell you anytime you click on it. Data balance sheet owner, me. Purchase price $292. Profit last week is $4,000. Total profit $173. It is not paying itself off yet. Long term, it will. I would not deep six yourself to dump all the stuff into an industry. Even my best industry right now, which is this logging camp up here. I bought this logging camp for $90,000. Total profit is $90,000, like $100 short. I have been pushing this industry just for this video to see how much it would take. I did upgrade it once to level 2. If I want to expand it to level 3, it's $200,000, but it's 14 loads per week. I don't think I'll be using that much, so I'm not going to expand it. Be very careful at what you buy. You can buy every single industry. You could, and then expand it. However, from what I can tell, you can't really do it all yourself. And someone in chat told me that if you buy every industry and then try to upgrade them, you won't have enough money, even if you let the game go on a long time, to expand the industries up to the point where you need them to be. So private industries should take over. Some industries you don't really want to push. Like, for instance, there's a sugar mill here. Sugar can also go, I think, into like alcohol. I'm not pushing an alcohol industry, so I didn't buy this place. Now, I'm using it, a lot of it, in fact. And if I want to buy it up here at Buy Business, it costs almost $1.4 million. I'm like, nah, it's okay. Now, my competitors can buy that, get paid off me. I could buy it. I'm okay. The one thing that I like about it, though, is if you go to your industry, it'll show you how much you've made per week and how much you're making per profit. Now, that goes, like when I said you didn't get paid per carload, you don't. You get paid to transport it. However, you get paid on the profit of the industry here if you own the industry. And then on your balance sheet, which I believe is here under, where is it? Company, you will be able to see your company value. I think if I go to quarterly reports under income, you can see my industry profits per quarter. This quarter are $143,000. The quarter before was $80,000. It's been ramping up as I fuel my industries and fix my snarl of traffic. Is that worth buying the industries? You have to make that determination yourself based on the scenario. I want to give this detail because some people who play these kind of games are detail-oriented people. I'm not perfect. I admit I'm not. I saw a good game that made me want to do it, so I did okay. I'm trying to help this out. Making sure you make enough money to expand, but not constrain yourself. Like, let's say if you're going to go through 3 different cities, connecting to 4 different cities might be better than going to 2 cities and buying one industry. You have to make the determination, when's it worth putting stuff down. From what I can tell, layman's terms, like napkin math, I would connect cities first, then start buying industries, unless you think, I'm going to put this industry through the ringer. I'm going to get everything I can out of it, and I'm going to ship it everywhere. Okay, maybe buy that one. If you're like, I might take some of that cargo, some cities need it. Okay, fine. Maybe buy that later on, like I did with the sugar in Flint. Okay, let's move on to the next tip. The next piece will come in for how you buy industries. One thing you have to know, if you buy an industry, unless you have certain characters that are running your company as a CEO, every single purchase of an industry, whether it's in a town, whether it's on the countryside, will trigger an auction. If you say, I want to buy this, as soon as you click that button, yeah, you can start the auction. The first bid is $2.8 million. Then the NPCs get to go, do I want to bid on that? So be aware, even though an industry says it's cheap, you really don't want to mess with it unless you have a little bit of extra financial backing. The other way to do it is to look at the usage level. The current work level for that Lopez vegetable farm is 71%. My corn farm, however, is 100%. 100% means you will get the absolute highest charge to purchase at that point. If you want to make an industry really cheap, you stop shipping to it. You take all your trains, you pause them, you park them, whatever you got to do. You sell them off. Maybe buy it before you even have a connection there. Might be worth doing. Another way to do it, if you see your enemies, see one of your enemy railroads sitting on a pile of money, and there's a way to trick them into spending their money stupidly. Like, let's say you're never going to use this coal industry, but you might. And you're like, well, maybe I should buy it. You put in a buy order, right? It's real cheap. You go, all right, boom. The NPC has like $2 million. You have like 500 grand. He bids for it. You bid for it. He outbids you. You go, you know what? Fine. I'm not going to connect to it. And you can deep six them with some business stuff, with a shark account. It's up to you. I would not really play that game unless you really know what you're doing. But the fact that you can play that way makes me really want to tell you about it. And be careful of auctions. They can backfire spectacularly. Before you do it, I would highly recommend going into your company, going to your, I can't remember how to show you. There's a way to look at your enemies, and I cannot remember off the top of me what it is. And I apologize for that, because my company's here. Banking activities. I know I can get bonds. I don't care about bonds. Competitors, there it is. So if I go to her, my company value is 11.5 million. Hers is 6.8. His is 4 million. I cannot, as far as I'm aware, I do not know how to find out how much money they have at the moment. If someone knows, please tell me. Because if I know how much they have, I will absolutely play those kind of games. The only way you can kind of do it is kind of watch, go out and go, okay, when's the last time they expanded? If they haven't expanded a lot recently, they might be buying a bunch of engines. They might be upgrading a lot of buildings. You can't really tell. You have to kind of make that determination yourself. Like in real life business, they don't have to report everything. But if there were spies, it might be nice. So that's up to you. Okay, let's move on to the next tip. The next one is, besides auctions, besides buying stuff that exists already, you can also build. And in Norfolk, this is why I left this town like this. You see there is, after a certain, when the town expands, it'll tell you, hey, there'll be a little announcement. I think it's like somewhere around like where my face is. It'll say, hey, or I think it's actually here at the very top middle. See right here, like this kind of stuff? It'll say, hey, Norfolk has expanded. When Norfolk expands, it doesn't mean just the level. When the city size gets higher, it goes from one means there's no industries. Number 2 means there's one industry slot. 3 means there's a third. 4, so on and so forth. See how it says right there, 4 and 5? So at that point, you have an option. And this is a very cool thing because there's no auction as far as I'm aware. You get to go, hey, I want to build an industry here. And you get to pay for any industry you have unlocked. Now, if there's like a paper mill, I can't select it because they're not in demand in the town. When the town demands those goods, you can build it though. Like I can say, hey, I want to make a distillery which takes fruit and sugar and makes wine. Now, the thing about this is there any fruit nearby? And the closest fruit that I can find, yeah, there isn't any. There might be some over here for her. Wow. All the way across the map. So there's not really any at all. That's it. Oh, there's some way up here, up by Pittsburgh. I get some fruit all the way down to here, along with that sugar, and I can make I make a distillery. That may not be worth your time. Some of you are going to say, oh, I can make like there's iron ore right there. There's coal over here. I can bring it in and make a steel mill, and you're more than welcome to. However, you have to have a desire for steel by making tools. Lumber, coal, iron equals tools. Past that, ceramic works, furniture. There's more and more that will unlock with technology. We're in 1832. There's not a lot. I just want to make sure you knew the option was available. It is a lot of fun. However, I don't know if you can buy an industry, like a cheap one, like a meat industry, and then demolish it later on. So I would try to keep some money back, especially if you think a town is going to expand soon. Yes, you can get money very quickly in this game. You can take a loan, you can take a bond, you can issue shares, you can wait for some trains to come in. If you think if you're trying to grow a town, I would hold some money back. An industry isn't a lot of money when you build it yourself. It's really not. It's like $250,000 for some of the smaller ones. But when you get into the higher level stuff, like when I think Baltimore or Washington expands, When these things expand, this thing has 2 of them and it's about to expand number 3 at 90,000 people. That one could be something very significant. This one already is here, and because it's already here, it's opening opportunities I've never even seen before, like university, which I don't even know what a university does. Oh, wow. Every university that you build increases the monthly innovation points by your company receives by 4 points. Whoa. Increased satisfaction of citizen fulfillment demand 10%. Increases people traveling the city by 20%. Same thing. I didn't know these existed. That's awesome. All right, so even more in the game than I thought of. Now, I'll move on to the next tip, but please, industries are awesome, but don't deep six your entire economy to get them early and say, I'm going to get all the money. I think it's not the end of the world to expand to 4 or 5 cities first, 3 or 4 cities first, then start buying industries, unless you really know what you're doing. And most of you will know very quickly if you're making profits or not. Just by looking at the quarterly reports. Let's move on to the next tip. The last tip in the industry section is expanding an industry. Now, this up here is my lumber mill, and the current workload is 100%. Now, I expanded, see how it says 34 to 48? I expanded this to see how it would work. I expanded to level 2. If I want to expand it again, it's instead of $100,000, it's $200,000. I think the next level is $400,000. And when you expand it, it makes more. However, if you don't take away all of the resources, it's not being utilized that amount, and then the profits drop. So it's kind of like running a business, like let's say you're a grocery store, and only 80% of the stuff goes off the shelves. You would probably lower the amount of stuff on the shelves, so you're not having wastage of 20%. Same thing, you might not need that many employees if you don't have that much stuff in the store to sell. It's a balancing act, just like in the game. Be aware, you can expand as much as you want, but if you don't have a need for it, you're wasting money. Okay? If you have the trains already in place and you're like, I don't have enough, and I'm watching my trains leave that are partial trains, like this train right here is going up this way. I don't even know why he's going that way, to be honest. The train's leaving from here. Like this train, let's see this one here. He's moving a lot of beer and 1 corn up. These are automatic trains. Some trains, though, are being run that are, quite honestly, just like loads of, there's a lot of beer moving. If you see a train moving with a bunch of stuff, but you see a train with only a certain amount of cars leaving from a station you own because there's only one resource at that station, that means your station's running empty. Watch it. You can also click on it like I did here, and you'll see how many are here per week. If it says 36 or 48 or some kind of number of 48, and this number is very close to 0, you don't have enough. Maybe the idea of expanding. You can also downsize the business if you've done it wrong. However, that will cost you money too. It will cost a $100,000 reduction. However, that might be worth it to you if you're wasting time and money, because that money, having a business not be utilized close to 100% and more in the lower 30% and below will just tank its profits, and the business will fail over time. Okay. Now you can sit on it if you want to, but that's not how business people work usually. Do with that information what you will. Let's move on to the next section. This next section is agents and research. The first thing I will say is research is what you're probably looking for. So we're going to go to research. Research is innovation points. Per month, we get 45. There are ways to increase it, like you saw on maybe if you watched earlier in the video. You can build the universities in very expanded towns, and universities will directly contribute an amount of research points per month to your company. Another way are people that are agents, personnel in the office personnel. Now, office personnel have different trait points. This one carries out research and therefore increases the weekly growth of innovation points by 13%. She is very good. She gets 13% bonus. We pay her weekly for that. She's level 2. This person here specializes in tunnel construction and reduces their construction costs by 13%. Based upon what you want, you will find good office personnel. This also works for freelancers. Freelancers can mess with your enemy or help you a lot. Like this bandit will right now, for $137,000, she will attack one of my enemies. She will steal mail. She'll steal passengers, or I can sabotage the station. That might be worth it if you're trying to buy their stock, because if you send an agent and they can't use their main station, which is the middle of their network, and everything comes to a halt, the stock price will tank. And then you can buy some stock quick if you're trying to take over the company, which some of the scenarios offer. This guy here is an analyst he does, well, and also everything will be explained here by the occupation, will cause hysteria in the stock market based on false reports and thus will increase or reduce the share price of a company. If you do this, it'll go for one of your people, one of your other people. Now you can push up based upon this. Let's say I have her shares, Beatrix, and I want to increase her share price. I can increase her share price, sell what I have, and then the market will correct. I could also say, I want to buy some of his stuff. I want to decrease the price. Hit him with it. The price goes down. We buy a bunch when it's real cheap. They're not bad. There's other agents too. There's researchers. There's professors. I would always look at these people when it says new freelancers available, but I wouldn't always spend the money. Like this bandit, I don't think is worth it unless I have like $1 million and I'm trying to buy a bunch of stuff. He's also not worth it unless I'm trying to invest a lot of money in stock in my competitors. Trained personnel, if you see a fire icon, obviously you can fire them. They already work for you. If you don't, you see one here, you can hire one. I would also be very careful who you hire and have a planned mission for them first. They're not really that big of a difference, but they can add up over time and they don't cost a lot. Their recruitment costs $937. I believe there's a salary per week. You can see all my people, all total, $1,420 a week in salary. Now this person, their friendly demeanor means passengers are ready to pay 10% more to board your train. If you have a passenger train, that's great. Put them on the passenger train. On a cargo train that has no passengers, not really the best move. Make sure you pay attention. Train personnel are not just conductors. There's stokers, conductors. The other thing you can do is when you hire a train and have them hired, you can have them hired, or when you make a new train, set up a rail line. Let's say we're going to go from Norfolk to, let's go to Washington. And then we can go to save and exit, add locomotive. We're going to go in here. We're going to say, you know what? I really want this one here because there's traction power, or I want the speed. So this one goes faster, has a little more traction power. It's worth the money. It's a Dunham. We'll buy him. Now you'll see there's little stars and train personnel, meaning there's people available. I think I could be wrong. I am wrong. However, when you go in here and you press over, it goes to your next train. It doesn't go to the next section. So you have to press back. And then you go to the engineer. Is there an engineer available? No, there's not. Back. Is there a conductor? There is a conductor available, and they are good for passengers. I'm going to hire them. Some of these people will not work well with each other. Discipline does not work well with carefree. Cheerful does not go with sour. You have to make sure you watch, and you can move people around. I'm going to hire this person. She's hired now. Go back up. Going for security guard. There's no security guard available. It's just her. This train will give 10% extra. Now this train is going to go between those two cities. That's all it's going to do. Nothing else. I'll worry about it later on, but that makes it very simple. You determine what you want. If you see a cargo guy and you're like, oh man, I like that guy, 10% extra cargo costs. I own the business that cargo is going from. Like if I had a cargo guy, a security guard, and I'm going from this more logging, if I put him to like Washington, all he does is go back and forth when Washington, a really short trip, or maybe Norfolk, I would say, let's get a security guard, 10% extra cargo costs. That'll help me out because I own the business, I own the sawmill, I own the train, I can make a lot of money. They're not going to break the bank. They're not going to be like, oh, you're going to make millions, but they're easily going to pay for themselves. I wouldn't go crazy stopping everything unless you want to be a completionist to do every single person you can find. And you saw them poach one off me. Didn't really matter, but at least you know about it now. Let's move on to the next tip. The next one is some people I think you should avoid. And I wish there was one to show you, but there's actually a freelancer that's called a professor. And the professor goes, hey, how you doing? I want your research points in exchange for money. Now, if you're really low on money, you could go, okay, that's good. I wouldn't do that. The research section is vast. And the thing about the research section, I didn't know about this. Not only there's trains and locomotives and company, actually, let me stop this. There's not only trains and locomotives and company and construction, but when you go in here, you can hold down with left click. If you hold down with left click and move back and forth, there's more. There's a lot more. Be aware of that. And all of those things cost points. Now, everything you see that doesn't have a cost means I already own it. I own all these. I would think there'd be a check mark, but I own these too. Now, I see that I have 72 points. Next month, I make 45. I could decide next month, increase profits from transport and mail by 7%. Anything that you see with the lines that are connected, you can get if you have the prerequisites. So if I go here I could get this one. However, I can't get this until I get this or this. I can't get this until I have this. See what I mean? It's very straightforward. I wanted to make sure you're aware of that, but I think no matter what happens, I have never seen a reason to give up unless there's a scenario where you're cash poor like crazy and you're making, for some reason, a tremendous amount of research points. I don't think I'd ever give away research points for money. I really don't think so. I mean, long term, to be able to get a university up in a town to make up back the 200 points they asked for would take, at 4 points per month, we're talking 50 months to get your money back in the future. I think the technology will more than pay itself off, because even if let's say they ask for 400 points usually for the research thing. Let's say I just get this one here, which retroactively lowers the cost of successful auctions by 10%. Wow. Let's say this one, increase profits from transport and mail by 7%, reduce the construction cost of railroad bridges, factories by 10%, and urban buildings by 10%. This one, reduce the construction cost of bridges by 40%. Just those three, that's 500 points, a little too much, but each of these, you can tell 10%, 5%, 15%, 20, 40%. It adds up very quickly. A little infusion of money at the beginning could be worth it in certain scenarios. I don't think it will be, but that's up to you to decide. Okay? I don't think it's worth it. I want to make sure I said that. As for agents, I've already told you, whoa. Oh, that's me. Over 27 track, nice. Because I did that one piece, because it connected up. I'm trying to connect up here. Now, the one thing I will tell you about that is you make up your own agents, or your own mind on what agents you want. I would say office personnel, if you ever see one, I would almost always look at them, and they're almost always worth it. It's up to you, though, of course, to read what's going on. All the information's here. All of it is here. Please read. It helps a great deal. Okay? I think that's it. That's about all. Let me go on to the next piece. We'll go from there. Okay. Hopefully I earned your subscription today. For those of you that are like, you're like, I have all the information I need. I think I'm good, man. Okay. The next video will be the Let's Play from this point forward. If you're like, I don't want that, no problem. I really appreciate it. I hope I earned that subscription. If you want to hit other buttons, that's up to you. I really appreciate it. For the rest of you, I'm going to do my closing thoughts now about this game. And I really I think you could probably tell I'm really much a train head. I love train stuff. I've always loved train stuff. I mean, right here, while I'm sitting here doing this conversation, I'm sitting on a brand new train head I just bought for the stream because I love it that much. It's just the way I am. I've always loved train games. And I think my first train game was Railroad Tycoon 1 way back when that I never really owned. But let's just get past that. Anyway, so if you're looking for a cheap game that has a decent amount of DLCs, and you can get past the frustrations of some of the translation errors, as well as some roughness the game has, like with the track building stuff that I showed you, this might be your kind of game to take a gander at. It's very much an older game. It's pretty much only in security mode, where they basically updo security updates, so you can't get owned to the face. And if anything breaks by going from Windows 10 to Windows 11, that kind of stuff, they do that. They're not going to add new features to the game. There's still a problem in the tutorial where I think there's a part of the tutorial that says, go from this farm to Omaha to the next city. And what happens is if you go from the farm to the destination and don't include Omaha in between the three, the tutorial will not complete, no matter what you do. And there's a whole guide on the Steam forums on how to get past that one mission. It's still broken 7 years later. Okay? Now, is that a horrible thing? No, not really. If people can look the most basic Google searches, you're going to find the result. However, to some of you, that's like, how dare they? Why wouldn't they do that? I don't know. I think it's a translation error. The engineers for this game, or developers for this game, are German. Their English is not their first language. And I'm willing to always be forgiving for anyone who tries to understand English, because English is not a great language. It's 3 different languages in a trench coat pretending to be a language. And people that are like, speak American, I just drive me nuts. The people that are like, well, try to speak English first. Well, it's not their primary language. That'd be like someone going to you and go, well, just speak Latin. And you're like, well, I don't know Latin. Well, shut up. Let people have some time to learn some stuff. And if they're willing to speak 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 languages, be understanding. For a game that's $6, it's a good game. If you get past the translation errors and the track stuff, You will have a very fun long-term game. The one thing I did want to show you, which I forgot to, was here. If you look under stats, I think it's stats. Yeah, right here. How long to beat? You can beat the main storyline in 21 hours if you go ape shit. If you go to main story and sides, 68 hours. If you're a completionist, 233 hours. Now for $6, that's up to you. I don't, that's like a quarter of a penny per hour, almost. That's pretty good. Okay. You determine if you want to do it or not. Totally up to you. But the reason I showed you this entire series and all these stupid tips and tricks, and I'm going to be doing a Let's Play, so one, I really want to see if I like the game long term, and I'm getting ready for Railroad Empire 2, Railroad Corporation 2, Mashinki, I might go back to all these train games because I finally have my life in a good spot where I can visit all of these train games I've always wanted to, because my life was a dumpster fire the last 10 years. I've had a lot of content creation stuff. I had to learn. I never knew Adobe. I was a construction worker. I literally worked on people's homes with a hammer, saw, paintbrush, acid, that kind of stuff. That's what I did. I didn't do Adobe. I didn't know how to code anything. I'm not a coder, but I mean, I didn't know how to make any kind of video edits. Now, after 10 years, I'm getting a little more comfortable in my skin. It took me a long time because I'm not really perfect at it. And I'm trying to be a signpost for you people to show you new games that are indie, that are, one, complicated, but you can play and learn. And number two on that has always been, if I can get you a good deal, I like to. I've always been that way. That's why I focus on indies and not AAAs. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, yeah, it's a great game. Comes out $60 for the basic version, $85 for the super version, $120 for the Omega Edition version. Who cares? You get the same kind of indie games, 20, 30 bucks. Now, are they the exact same quality? Hell no. But you already know about Red Dead Redemption. Most of you have never heard of this game before. That's fine. That's why I'm doing this video. And hopefully if you like what you saw, you'll tell me if there's something I can improve for the next kind of series I do about this. If there's another longer term game that's like this that you see go on sale a lot, I'll take suggestions. I know about a lot of them because I swim in these waters a lot. And if you want to see a Let's Play for this, it's going to be based on this scenario going right into the next scenario right after this video is done. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. I hope I gave you some value for everything I did. I did a lot of research for this, and I really got to say thank you to a lot of people. Off the top of my head, I can't remember all their names because this was 4 weeks ago, but 3.5, 4 weeks ago on my channel. They were nice enough to come in. I was struggling really hard with the track system because this was not explained. And it's still not explained the right way in the game. In number 2, I think they do double tracks and just walk right past this issue. And this is what I was doing in my game. And I was just flipping out going, the game is broken, it doesn't work, and all this other stuff. And they calmly came on Discord and made screenshots with arrows in paint on how to make it better. No game should really have to do that. However, the fact that people were willing to shows that the game probably has a good little heart to it and a good community, which some of you might go, hey, if they're willing to do that, they might not help you, meaning you, but at least I can find the information if I'm looking for it. And then the Steam discussion groups, the walkthrough guides, how my series, hopefully all that will give you a little more information to play with. I think it's a great little game. I really do. And I'm hoping that if people like it and I go through 20, 30 episodes and get enough likes and all that kind of stuff, I could keep going. If I see these videos go down to less than 30, 40 views, it's probably means to kill it. I'll try to finish this scenario off myself, maybe even go through the next one, but I'm only going to give 30 to 40 minute episodes because I think it's all people can digest. This one got out of control. I know it did because there was a lot to explain, and I'm sorry that it got this long. However, hopefully I earned your subscription today. I hope I gave you some value in this video. I hope maybe you'll comment on it or the next ones and tell me where I can improve because I've never done this kind of stuff before. I've done tips and tricks videos. I've done Let's Plays. I've never done both together, transitioning into a second channel. That's a new territory for me on a game that's 7 years old. Hopefully I made you go, hey, he put some effort into this. He actually gave a crap compared to just going, here's some content, blah, 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 give me likes and subscribes. No, I put some work in this. It doesn't mean anything. No, to you, it might not mean anything. To me, I liked it. I like what I'm doing. I like these games. I like railroad games, like industrial games. If I can do both together, I'm happier than hell. And I'm pretty happy. Now, is the game great? Railroad Empire 2 is probably better. Railroad Corporation 2 might be better. Mashinki might be better. All these other games might be better. But I have this one now. It's on sale. I bought all the DLCs myself with my own money. I can say whatever I damn well please about the game, so I'm doing so. Great game. Has some rough edges. Hopefully some of you can get past it. Hopefully I earned it today. Thank you. If you want to give me a good comment about what you liked about this day, feel free. I don't expect anyone to be at this point. Usually at this point of the stream, of the video, most people have said, F you, man, I'm out of here. This isn't a TikTok. Fine. But for those of you that made it to this point, I really want to say thank you. The next video will be on the other channel, but there'll be a link in the description. There'll be a link down below. And the next video, if you press next, will go right to it on autoplay. Thanks a lot for letting me have this little effort. And if you want to see the results, just put an X down below and I'll make sure I tag you in the results in like, a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, because some of you might be content creators go, yeah, I want to see how that works, because why not? If there's other places for us to all make growth and not be assholes about it and do misleading videos or do this kind of, I hate those freaking thumbnails so much. I want to like gag. Blah. What's happening next? Oh, you'll never know. It's so stupid. It's so freaking stupid. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.